New claims are making the rounds on social media, saying that masks can be harmful to kids' health. But is that true? And Texas A&M researchers making ground on a potential treatment for effects seen in chemical warfare. Your KRHD News starts right now.
Connecting the Brazos Valley, this is KRHD News.
Good evening and happy Thursday. I'm Hallie Jones. Misinformation spread online recently has led to a new mask myth that masks impair child development. KRHD News reporter Rachel Espaillat speaks with health officials who are working to debunk this myth.
When it comes to the decisions of mask wearing, Tina Brozier had a conversation with her 7th grade son.
We've chose not to go with a mask, and that's our stance.
He says one of the main reasons is because he has a controlled asthma and wearing a mask affected it.
It scared him a little bit because he hasn't had any episodes with it since he was a little baby, and it scared me as a mom as well.
While some may say that's a good reason to not wear a mask, Brazos County Health District reminds people that a person with respiratory issues is at a greater risk.
People with respiratory conditions need to be protected from COVID the most. So wearing a mask or a respirator or any other form of protection can go a great way in not only protecting the person from COVID, but also from spreading it around as well.
It's important to keep in mind what a mask does and why it's so effective.
The materials that masks are made out of are designed to stop droplets from coming out of the mouth and nose. They are designed to let an airflow come in and out.
It doesn't put a child at risk of carbon dioxide poisoning.
They are designed to let an airflow come in and out. So there's no way that carbon is going to get caught in there and cause any serious damage to a child.
Or affect a child's ability to develop communication skills, a miscommunication that the Brazos County Health District says it's been hearing more often.
Communication is so much more than just looking at a mouth. It's looking at the eyes, posture, tone of voice, and hand gestures. If anything, this can actually improve communication to teach children that communication is multifaceted.
If you do have concerns about your child wearing a mask, the Brazos County Health District encourages parents to talk to their child family doctor. Rachel Espaillat, KRHD News.
One common mask myth is that if you aren't sick, you don't need a mask. Researchers say people who don't have symptoms may not know they actually have the virus. Other debunked myths include cloth masks don't protect against COVID, wearing a mask increases the amount of carbon dioxide you intake, and that if you're wearing a mask, you don't need to social distance. And the debate over masks in schools continues. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton was in Waco for a campaign event today, and our sister station KXXV asked him questions regarding the controversial lawsuits filed against school districts. He says he stands on his statement that masks should be a personal choice and not forced by a government.
We don't have kings in this country anymore. We don't have tribal leaders. We don't have dictators. We have elected representatives who make laws. The job of those people is to make the best decision about health, not for some local official to say, look, I am above all this because I know better about health, I know more about science, and I'm going to make these decisions for everybody else, even though I'm not elected to do that.
So far, no schools in the Brazos Valley are currently being sued for issuing a mask mandate. Doctors are trying to find out if COVID symptoms in children are becoming more severe. Pediatric COVID cases were at an all-time high in late August, but doctors say in most cases of hospitalization, they're also dealing with a second infection. Now, researchers are looking into whether COVID is becoming more severe due to the Delta variant or if it's due to other infections. Doctors are hoping to have an answer by the end of this year. Meanwhile, doctors say that vaccinating for COVID-19 is safe for pregnant women. KRHD News reporter Rebecca Fiedler talks with some local healthcare professionals to get their advice and suggestions.
Area experts agree that COVID-19 vaccinations are crucial for pregnant women as the drug protects mom and baby. The consequences of not having a vaccine can be devastating, while the benefits can bring protection to both mom and baby.
we've seen cases where a mother gets infected with COVID and the patient, the mom, has severe infections where they have to be mechanically ventilated.
If mom's been vaccinated, not only do the antibodies cross the placenta, but they also continue to be excreted in breast milk. So as mom's breastfeeding, she's continuing to protect her baby from COVID.
Dr. Jessica Ehrig, maternal medical staff director with Baylor Scott and White Medical Center in Temple, says that of all the pregnant mothers she's seen in the ICU with COVID, none were fully vaccinated. Dr. Kia Parsi with St. Joseph Health in Bryan says the Brazos Valley has also seen its share of tragedy, with at least one fetal fatality here. Dr. Parsi stressed that he understands the desire and need for families to ask questions and feel skeptical of emerging medicine like the vaccine. But he recommends vaccines for patients because he's seen firsthand just how helpful they are. Reporting in the Brazos Valley, Rebecca Fiedler, KRHD News.
While gaining a four-year degree is financially out of reach for some, one local ministry is providing a helping hand. There's currently a need for skilled labor workers, and many people are still struggling to find employment or may not have the financial resources to get a four-year degree. So SOS Ministries is providing an opportunity cost-free. The Jack Threadgill vocational training provides community members with employment and impacts their overall life choices.
I used to get addicted to drugs. Now I get addicted to seeing families transform.
We definitely learned a lot on Tuesday nights, if not more than just a skill. It taught you about life, future, family, and planning. And that right there, that's big. That's big.
The 12-week program is offered to men and women located in Brazos County. The course will begin Monday, September 20th, but they're still taking applicants. Well, the first all-private citizen manned spacecraft is in orbit. The Inspiration 4 blasting off last night from Florida. 38-year-old billionaire Jared Isaacman brought all 4 seats on the board for $200 million, giving 3 of them away as a fundraiser for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. The brave crew now settling into orbit until Saturday with no professional astronauts on board.
This is significant and historic, because it's going to be the highest that any humans have gone into orbit since the Hubble servicing.
This flight does come with some risk. A computer does the flying, and if there are any issues, there is no way to get to the International Space Station, but they can return to Earth with the push of a button. A team of Texas A&M neuroscientists are making strides toward discovering a possible treatment for exposure to lethal chemical agents. Each year, an estimated 3 million people worldwide are exposed to organophosphates, a deadly chemical agent commonly found in pesticides and chemical weapons. This results in a nearly 300,000 deaths. One of the most common effects of exposure is seizures. As a result, the Texas A&M research team has utilized anticonvulsant medications to combat exposure.
So if someone does not respond to the first line of treatments, then the only alternative is alternative medications. So phenobarb come under alternative medication, and despite its side effects, it can be still usable, but under medical supervision.
The team is hopeful that by studying the drug much closer, they can create a new anticonvulsant drug with little to no side effects to protect soldiers and civilians. A new program is partnering with Texas A&M with local school districts to help students in low-income families. The Brazos Valley Promise program will identify 200 7th graders who are eligible for the program and provide them with a preparation program in the 8th grade. Students who are enrolled and complete the program will receive a 4-year full tuition scholarship to Texas A&M and continued mentorship and support.
We're looking at our lifelines in our local community. Those teachers and counselors are going to be the best ones to nominate. And then from there, as we grow the program into the subsequent years and looking at that increase and also expanding out into our other districts in Brazos Valley, we're still going to be leaning into the teachers and counselors to nominate.
The Brazos Valley Promise program launched this month with a 100-student pilot program and plans to expand to 200 students for 2022.
From schoolwork to Zoom classes to distractions, our kids get in a lot of screen time. With the way American children are growing up with access to tablets and phones being so different from how their parents did, many adults most likely have the same question.
Is screen time harming the nation's youth?
Katie Polish, a PhD student at CU Boulder, used data from nearly 12,000 9 and 10-year-olds to look for an answer to that question. What she and her colleagues found may be surprising.
We saw that it was related to a greater number of friendships and stronger social relationships. And we really didn't see anything with depression, anxiety, anything like that. So those are all good things.
There was an association in a small number of kids who spent more time on screens with attention disorders, poor sleep, and lower grades. However, the study says the influence that screen time had on these was minimal. For example, socioeconomic status had 2.5 times greater of an impact on such behavioral outcomes.
So any effects that we are seeing of screen time are very small, and they're really not dire.
As far as stronger social relationships, Polish says that usually came through online gaming, texting, and social media. But if children are to participate in these, she urges parental involvement.
It really comes down to using common sense with screens and seeing like, hey, if this video game is beyond the age level of my child, maybe this is something we want to monitor.
But what about the amount of screen time? The study found the average screen time for kids was 4 hours on weekdays and 5 hours on weekends. Even given that seemingly high amount of hours, the impacts were small. Polish says one thing to keep in mind, however, is the content they're consuming. The more kids are using their brains, the better.
To be mindful of screens and what your child is doing on screens, because certainly different activities can lead to different things. Like we know video gaming is more social versus something like watching TV, which is very stagnant. But the bottom line is, while you should be mindful, you really don't have to worry.
I'm Vanessa Bishania reporting.
Vanessa, thank you. A final check of our lineup today. There's a new attraction to working somewhere other than inside a big office, but not at home full time. The precautions being put in place to make public co-working spaces safe.
Now let's head on over to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Matt Hines.
And as we take a look outside, you can see on our Extraco Eagle Eye here in Bryan College Station that we do have some clouds around, but notice how flat they are. So there's not a lot of vertical motion with them. That means we're not going to see much in the way of any showers or thunderstorms with these. Just some fair weather clouds out there, and 89 degrees with partly cloudy skies. 94 is what it feels like. So the dew point has come up a little bit, up to 69, and winds are out of the northeast at 9 miles per hour. So a little bit of humidity out there. Clouds and radar showing, well, not much on the radar part, but we do have some clouds again from Bryan College Station over into Madisonville and into Anderson and Grimes County. This is where we've seen mostly cloudy skies, but you head northwest of Bryan College Station, clouds clear out, and that's all from the remnants of Nicholas. So it is warmer as you head farther to the northwest with more sunshine across our northwestern parts, and it looks like that may bisect the area as we head into tomorrow as well, as it does appear that we're going to see these remnants just kind of spin here near the Texas-Louisiana border just to our east, and most of the rain staying to the east over into Louisiana. Can't rule out an isolated storm threat as we move into the weekend. So as far as our future track is concerned, things are pretty quiet out there, and they'll stay that way as we head into Friday morning with a few clouds here and there. Then taking you through Friday and Saturday, not too much happening, but by Saturday afternoon, we may see a couple of showers and thunderstorms. So I do have a 20% chance of isolated storms working in. I think the farther south and east you are, the better chance of the slight chance you will have as we head into your weekend. So for tonight, temperatures dipping down into the upper 60s and low 70s, and tomorrow highs into the low to mid 90s. Hottest conditions across the west where the cloud cover will be least. And taking a look at your forecast, again, isolated thunderstorms possible over the weekend with highs into the low to mid 90s, heating up even more Monday and Tuesday, and then cooling off a bit by the middle part of next week.
Return to work? Been a bit bumpy to say the least. With Delta surges causing many larger companies to hold off on bringing people back, an estimated 42% of Americans continue to work remotely according to Flexion. But some are finding collaboration and a hybrid schedule to be best, so they're investing in smaller public spaces.
It's being able to pick and choose the co-working space that brings that allows to get out of home, but yet not have to commute all the way to the office, which sometimes can be very long, very long commute back and forth.
Christophe Garnier is head of Upflex. The company created the Safe Spaces program, which is a worldwide co-working network. According to one industry estimate, the number of co-working spaces is expected to double over the next 2 years, from around 20,000 up to more than 40,000. Garnier says co-working was already on the rise before COVID to improve work-life balance.
Giving the choice to the employee, not forcing them into going into the office, not forcing them into staying at home, but giving them the choice to do what they feel like on any given day.
Safe Spaces hired an epidemiologist to help create protocols to reduce the chances of the virus spreading in public working environments. This is video that they shared with us of one of their co-working spaces. Garnier says businesses, especially startups, like the idea of co-working as well because it's less of a commitment to real estate than traditional long-term office leases. You can find Safe Spaces accredited co-working spaces online at upflex.com. But some people are being told to see a lawyer instead of a therapist. Tomorrow, why some health centers believe this is a better treatment plan to help someone long-term.
Here are some of the stories we're working on for KRHD News at 6. A new report shows that Texas has seen an unprecedented number of negative cases with COVID-19. But local health officials. Plus, with a major influx of people moving to Texas, how is the population being reached?